students. Today we'll practice some more programs on method overloading. So last class we wrote one program which is add. So let us have a very quick recap on what we learned in the last class. So it was about method overloading. So in Java it is possible to write many methods with the same name that are differentiated by the number and type of the arguments. The way you create, the process of creating such overloaded functions are nothing but function overloading. So this is what we discussed in the last class, and also we understood how do we call the method overloaded methods. So based on the function signature or number and type of the arguments, it is going to differentiate from one method to another. So let us see very quickly with the definition of the method overloading. A function with the same name having several definitions in the same scope that are differentiable by the number and or type of argument is said to be an overloaded method. The process of creating overloaded function is called function overloading. So this is what we discussed about the definition of the method overloading, and also we understood calling the overloaded method. So as I said, based on the argument it's going to determine which function or which version of the method to call. So last class we wrote one method with the name add. So when we call a method, how many number of arguments we are going to pass? For example, if I see the main method here, if you see this method call statement, when I call a method with two arguments, or let me take the third one here, when I call a method with one integer and one float arguments, immediately the control will jump and check for the add method with one int and float. It will check the first one, it is not matching because both are integer type. Second one, 3 integers is not matching, but the third one is one int and float. There is a match here, it will go and execute this method. So here method overloading, where function signature plays a major role to differentiate between a method to another method, because all the methods are having the same name. Multiple method with the same name in the same scope. What do you mean by scope here? Means within the same class we are going to write. That is what we discussed in the last class. Apart from that, we also understood why exactly we try to maintain the same name instead of a different method name. Last class I told you this one also. Suppose you are going to perform the addition, but for addition you keep addition of 2 integer, you keep one method, addition of 3 integers, if you keep one more name, then it becomes very difficult for the programmer to understand the behavior and working of each and every method. So the flexibility won't be there. So what we try to do is, when we have a similar kind of operation to perform, we try to go with the overloaded method. So that is what here we are, this paragraph is going to explain about that. Basically overloading is needed when you want to perform similar kind of operation, means addition, or you want to reverse the number, or you are going to print the patterns. So what exactly the task is, you are going to print the pattern only, the triangle shape only, but based on the different arguments, different types of patterns we are going to display, or based on the arguments we are going to find the addition of the numbers, or I want to reverse a number, based on the argument I want to reverse a string, reverse a number, or reverse an array, something like this. So when you have a similar kind of operation but based on different data types, then in that case we try to go with the overloaded methods. So here last class we took the add method, and also we discussed about the advantage of method overloading. One is it increases the readability of the program, and also it gives the programmer flexibility to call similar method for different types of data. That is what we discussed. So let us write more programs today, so that we understand still more better way, or still more the concept will be very much clear on method overloading. So if I come back to the homework questions, last class what I gave you two homework questions. That is practice 17. It was a homework question. First question is to overload the method area, and the second one was on volume. Let us write the very first program today, and we will understand similar to the add method only. So I kept the BlueJ ready here. So I have not kept the program ready. so that when I start to type the program only will understand the flow and writing and the execution flow, everything will be able to understand. So I'll type and show you how exactly the program is going to work for the first question, which is the finding the area. So let me copy down the question so that when I am writing I can see the overloaded method with the arguments, everything. So I'll take one class here. This is the homework. Okay, while writing I'll write the class name here. Class. This is homework 17, first question. So we'll start. Anyhow, I selected the whole entire question. Let me make the entire question as a comment here. This was the question. Write a program. Okay, let me remove this so that you can see. Overload the method area. So these three are the methods to print the result. So this is what the question. I just copied from the main file to this BlueJ so that it can be a comment here. So let me write the methods now. We started with the class, and here the very first one is int area. We are taking one argument. Let me write the method prototype as it is. Area, we are taking one integer argument s. So what is that we are going to do here? It returns area of a square and the formula is s into s. Directly I can write here return s into s. The next one, we are writing one more method with two integer arguments. So the difference is method name is area only, but the arguments are different. That is how we are going to differentiate from one method to another in overloaded methods. So both are returning integer type only. Here integer area int L and comma int B. Here we write return, the formula for finding the area of rectangle is return L into B. Then close this. The next one, integer area, where we are taking float R, where we are going to return area of a circle. So the formula is pi r square. Float area returns the pi r square. That is the formula. Pi is a constant, that is what is not an argument here, only radius is the argument. So 3.14 is a constant, you can directly take the value of pi. 3.14, since I am taking as, okay, the return type is double here or float. Okay, it's float here, it is not integer type now. For the third one, float. So let me suffix the constant with f here. For the float it is compulsory to suffix with f, but for double you can skip that. 3.14 into r into r, that is a formula for area of a circle. So we finished writing overloaded method area. Three methods we have written, but arguments are different. Now we should have a main or a caller method to call, collect the answer, because each method is going to return a value, collect the answer and print the result. So let me write main method. Let me directly pass the actual values here. So I am going to get two integer result 1 and result 2. Then third one is of type float. So I'll take the result 3 of type float. So result 1 is equal to, I'll call area method by passing only one argument, which I will give it as 3. Next one, result 2, I'll call area method by passing two argument, which is length and breadth. So here I'll pass 2, 5. L will take the value as 2 and B will take the value as 5. Then result 3 is equal to area, here no bracket, area of, I'll give here 2.5 f. So this is what I am giving. So we are collected the answer in these three variables. Now the next thing is we have to display the result on the screen. So calculation is done, method calling part is done. We have to display the results on the screen. System.out.println. First one is area of square. We are collecting the result in the variable result1. We'll print that. The second one, I'm just copying I am going to paste this statement so that I can modify the line. I can speed up my work. Area of rectangle, you also can do the same thing on your system. Result 2. The third one is area of circle. Result 3. So I finished calling the method. Now this is the end of the class and this is the end of the main method. So totally we have written inside a class one, second one area of rectangle, and the third one is area of circle, and one more is main. So totally 4 methods. In that 3 are overloaded method. 3 methods are overloaded. Now here based on the calling, here depends on how you are calling based on this prototype, means the arguments. Based on the arguments, it's going to check whether area method with one single integer argument that will be invoked. Next time when you call area with 2 arguments, with 2 integer argument, it will go and check area method with 2 integer argument that will be called. And third time, this is the third one with one float variable. So third method is matching with that, that will be called. Based on that, it gets the or collects the result value here, and that's what we are printing it on the screen. So main method, you can call it as a caller method, where it is going to call all the other methods in an order and it is going to print the result. Let me compile now. Okay, let me make all the method as a static. You can avoid the creation of an object. Otherwise, don't write any static method for any of these. Then you have to create an object and execute. So I have not given static method for all these methods. Let me explain by creating an object today. So first one, I'll click OK. Object is created here. Right click on this. There are 4 methods available. Area, all the methods are overloaded here. Main. So main is a caller method which will take care of calling rest of the 3 methods. So let me click on main method. So area of square, rectangle, circle. If you give some is equal to a space here, since I have not given, so everything is coming in a joined result we are getting. Give some space or is equal to sign, so that you will get area of square is equal to 9, something like that. Let me tell you one important point here. Now, not necessary you have to call all the methods in an order like this. In what order you have written. If you see here, first one with 1 integer, second one with 2 integer, and third one with the float value. Not necessary you have to call in the same order. Let me change the order. Now, I'll call the third one first. If you see here, result 3. Now this I cannot make it as result 1. Why? Because result 1 is of type integer. Area I am calling with one float variable. So it will go and call the third one. Third one return type is float here. That is the reason the what answer you are collecting by passing the float one has to be of type float only. Because the third method will be called. Third method is sending the answer of type float. So your result has to be of type float. So let it be result 3 only. So I am calling the third method first. Then I will call the second method. Let me change the order now. Then result 1. So you can invoke the method in whichever order. While printing also, you can print in whichever order you want. Like it depends on how you want to invoke and how you want to display that. Now if you see a method call and printing statement, I am going in a reverse order. Means I am finding the area of circle first and then the rectangle and then the square. But while printing on the screen, I am printing square, rectangle and circle. So doesn't matter like in which order you want to call, whatever method you are invoking, that method will be called. There is no relation between method call statement and the order in which methods are written. You can write the method in whichever order you want, and depends on how you invoke the method and how you are going to print the result. And if you observe here, now I change the order of invoking a method, but you see the outputs. Output I am getting square, rectangle, circle only. Let me correct these things also. Let us see the output now. I'll create an object now. Click OK. Right click on this. Again click on main method. See, output we are getting square, rectangle, circle, because that is the order I am printing the result. But while calling the method, I change the invoked order. Previously it was 1, 2, 3. Now I am calling the third one and then the rectangle and then the square. So this is how you can change, and you can, however you want, you can invoke, and you can finally print the result in a particular order. So this was the first homework question for the practice 17, that is the overloading the method area. Now let us go with the second one. Write a class to overload a method volume, where you are going to find the volume of a cube, sphere and cuboid, and also you are going to write one main method to call and print the result. This is also similar to the area method only, and we will see, only the formulas are different. Let me see that program now. So that also now only I will type, so that the concept will be still more clear to you. So new class, while typing here I will change the class name. Here I will give the class name as, this is the homework 17, question number 2. Okay, let me copy the question from there to here, that I will make it as a comment now. So the question is, overload this method and print this. That I am making it as a comment now. This is the question now. So let us write. So I can refer and I can write, instead of switching over, I can see the question here and I can start writing the program. So return type of the first method is int volume. Return type is integer, method name is volume, and it is taking one argument s. So this is going to return the volume of cube. The formula is, they say, s into s into s. First method. Finished with the very first one. Very easy to write. Second one, return type is float and it is taking float argument. So let me write that now. Float volume, float r. So here we are writing, return the volume of sphere. So 4 by 3, 4.0 f. So here we write return 4.0 f by 3. As you all know, int by integer you will not get the fractional part. That is the reason here one float by integer I made, so that you will get the fractional part. So that into, formula is 4 by 3. This is a formula which is given in the equation. Pi r cube. R into R is nothing but pi into r cube. R cube is written as r into r into r. So 4 by 3 is done. Then into, pi value is 3.14 and it is a float type. I will suffix that with f. Then into r into r into r. Now second method is also done. The third one is integer volume. You are taking 3 integer arguments L, B and H. Returns the volume of cuboid as L into B into H. So let us see the third one. Return type is integer now, volume. We are taking integer L, integer B, integer H. It returns L into B into H. So we are returning that. Now we have to write a main method to call and print the result. Void main. Then here, as I said, 2 methods you are getting the integer output. 2 methods are giving you integer result, and one of the method is giving you the float value. So let me take integer result 1, then result 2, then float result 3. You may change the order also, result 2, 3 and this may be as result 1. Anything is okay. You can change the name however you want. You can change the name. It is only collecting the results. So here let me call the method, or else relevant name only. If it is confusing, result 1 is for what, result 2 is for what, you can also write. The first one is you are getting the volume of cube, sphere and then cuboid. You can write here cube, CB for cube and cuboid is CBD, I'll write here, and the next one is sphere, that I'll make it as SP or sphere, so that you can avoid the confusion. Result 1, result 2, no need to confuse yourself, result for 1 what, result 2 for what, or something like that. I have given a CB for volume of cube, SPR for volume of sphere, CBD for volume of cuboid. That is a relevant name I have taken for collecting the variables. So results, or I can say, so here CB, or okay, let me take SPR only, because volume of sphere only will take first. As I said, calling method, it can be in any order. Method name is volume, and for sphere what we are giving is a float type argument. If you see the method here, for sphere, see the prototype here, for sphere it is return type is float, what you are passing is also float. That is what I am calling for the first time, but while writing the method I have written that as a second method here, but at the time of calling I am calling sphere only as the first one. That is what I want to tell you once again. Order of writing the method doesn't matter here. Next one, CBD. Okay, let me take CB, volume of cube is equal to volume, method name is same, that is what method overloading is. One argument we are passing, let me pass it as 3 here. So first method will be called with one argument, it will be returned with S into S into S. So S will take the value as 3, that is what I am passing. Next one is CBD, volume of cuboid, volume. Now I will pass 3 arguments, 2 into 4, 5 into 3, something like this. So L will take 2, B will take 5, H will take 3. So third method is called now, that is collected in CBD. While printing, you can print the output in whichever order you want. Print ln, let me print here, volume of cube. Volume of cube is the second line of calling, but already we collected the answer. I can write, or I can write the order in whichever order I want. I can display the output CB, that is where I collected. Second one, I collected the output in okay, let me print this sphere now, volume of sphere, that is SPR, then volume of cuboid, CBD. So I finished calling and I finished printing the values or outputs here. You can also write here is equal to, what is the output you are getting. This is just the output format. So we are calling the method and we are printing. Let us see how the methods are working. We can, for this program, since the last one I showed you for creating an object and displaying it, let me make this method as static now. Static, this also I will make it as static. So no need of creation of an object, I can avoid that. Static, keep all the method as static itself. Now I compile. Return, keyword return, not returns. Println, okay, copy pasted, so same mistake I have copy pasted everywhere. So let me change this order. Now will compile. Supposed to be println. Let us see now. Homework 17, second question. As I said, static method no need to create. Here only you can see. As I told you, main method will take care of calling all the other method. Just click on main, you will get the answer. This is the order you are getting. So this is how you can write the overloaded method. I think so by this you all are very much clear with the concept of method overloading, and you all understood last class 1 program. I hope you all have written and you verified with the program solution what I gave you today, these 2 homework questions. So you are all thorough by this time, how to give, how to invoke, how to call the method, all these things you understood. And also students, when you are calling the method, as I told you, at the time of calling the function, if you follow the first one, very first one, if you see here, while calling the method, one with integer, one with 2 float, 2 integers, one with 1 float argument. You cannot change the order Or second one, if you see here, two integer arguments you are passing, you cannot write at any cost one int and float, because there is no method with one int and float here. You have a method with one int, two int and one float here. So while calling the method, you have to pass the same type of arguments only, and you cannot interchange also. That also I told you in the last class. If you can understand, I told you while writing, I told you you cannot interchange to one int and float. Add method, you remember, where we have written int and float combination, but at the time of calling it has to be int and float. You cannot make float first and then integer. Again you get an error message. All that I explained in the last class, and also today I gave you in which order you can write and what is the order of writing and what is the order of invoking. All that, it doesn't matter, all that I explained now. So with this you are very much clear with the method overloading concept, I feel. So practice this program, practice this once again by executing. If you have any mistakes or if the concept was not clear, some of you might have not written these homeworks. So please go through. Now do not copy, try to write on your own, try to execute. And along with this, I have given or I have written some of the extra, means the next class homework question also. So that also you can write and you can come for the next class. So here practice 17 questions I discussed today. Along with that, I have next set of questions, that is for the next class. Before you come for the next class or next session, write these program. These questions are very are quite interesting here. You can see that first one is, we are writing a overloaded method reverse. Here also reverse. Second one also reverse. But the first one is very easy. Before also we have written a program. You are going to receive one number. What number you are receiving, that will be reversed. Suppose if I give the input as 123, you are going to return the value as 321, reversed one. That is what you are writing it for the first question. Second one is same reverse method, is a overloaded method, but what argument it is taking, if you see here, int n and square bracket. So what I am passing is an array. What array you are passing, that array will be reversed, and reversed array we are going to send. If you see the return part of the method, int and there is a square bracket, it indicates here. If you see the previous one, int is what? Just one single data type, one integer here. But if you see here, what you are returning for the second method is the entire array, the reversed array you are going to return. Let me see how many are going to write the first to this program, that is the reversed one. First one is to reverse a number and second one is to reverse an array and return it. And main method is the one, it is going to call these two methods and it is going to print. That is the first question. Second one is series. We have written already, even you are all familiar with that series program also. So I have given you two series questions. Now it is not like series 1, 2, 3 or something like that. Both the method names are series only. If you see here, both methods are with the name series, which is nothing but method overloading. As I told you, when you are doing a similar kind of operation, means what we are doing is a series program. So in that case, no need to write a different name for the method. You can keep the same name but vary the arguments. Based on that, the method is going to call and it is going to print the result. So first one is x by 2 factorial plus x by 4 factorial up to x by 10 factorial, and the second one is x to the a to the power 1 by 1 factorial plus a to the power 2 by 2 factorial. It goes on up to a to the power n by n factorial, and main method is the one which is going to call these two and print the result. And third one is still more interesting. I have given you one menu driven program. So one main method you are going to write where you are going to display the menu. So menu options, menu heading will be with the menu and shapes. First option is to print the square, second one is to print the rectangle, and third one is to print the triangle, and the fourth option is to exit. So first main method with the menu you are writing, then you are going to write three overloaded method. For each option you are writing one overloaded method with the name shapes. So first one is void shapes. It is going to take one integer n argument. So you are going to print the square because the option first one is square. you are going to print the square filled with the at sign for n. Suppose if I give the n value as 2 row and 2 column, that is nothing but the square. So all of you know pattern program, just vary so that you will get the square. So it is the overloaded method shapes. Method name remains to be the same here. But if you see the arguments, first one is taking only one, second one is taking 2 arguments, and third one with no arguments. So second one is void shapes, it takes 2 arguments L and B, prints rectangle. So repeat the loop for row and column L into B. So we'll get a rectangle shape. I know you all are capable of writing this. Try your level best to write the solution, and let me see how many of you have written this program. The third one is, we are not receiving any arguments, but still the method name is shapes only. It's going to print the triangle filled with star for 5 lines. So here number of lines, row and column, or you can say length and breadth, what we are receiving. Here what is the size of that, n or s, whatever you can say here. But for the third one, there is no line, nothing is mentioned. When you do not mention anything, it's going to print the triangle for 5 lines. So and these methods will be called with respect to this main method. As a menu options you are going to call, and the program will terminate only when the user selects the option 4. So you are all suggested to go with the do while loop for the repeating of this menu option. So I have given you 3 questions which includes the method overloading, topic, menu, everything. Let me see how many will write these 3 programs and come for the next video. Thank you, students.